Hey, I'm Gavin, and something I've done my whole life is imagine the way the world could be. Imagine a technology which does not exist yet that you may want. And oftentimes, these technologies and things that I want in the world will manifest. And so today I will talk about one technology which came to me today. Thank you to those who responded to my previous videos where I talked about jealousy, bitterness, and you know feelings about wanting uh, people who might be very popular to be able to hop into a live stream and care for random people. One of the good points was with regard to an idea that like the president of the United States could hop into my live stream. That thought experiment reveals some things where perhaps my live stream is destroyed. What I had previously, my ability to connect with random people, has forever been altered because now I am a person who has the attention of the President of the United States. And then there's a lot that comes with that. So there's a risk to me and my mission of just being able to connect with randos. On the other side, the very smart leader who is popular may be aware that when they go into a space and do something like that, that they are ruining the space to a degree. This is like a hyper aware celebrity leader. And I think they're out there. I think there's very smart, very good celebrities, whatever kinds of celebrities. Maybe they're millionaires, billionaires, movie stars, musicians, leaders. And it's just so sad that the conversation between someone with a lot of status could be can't be had easily with a rando. So there's a chance that the rando recognizes them and then treats them a certain way. And then there's a chance that all of a sudden this rando is no longer a rando anymore. And this is why this idea came to me, and it, in part, one of the commenters had mentioned how they had played with a celebrity in a video game, and that's what these virtual spaces offer. And so this is what I want. Sometimes these things of what I want is perhaps just a vision of what will be. But to generalize it as much as possible, right, it is to facilitate people's ability to use a different person, a different face, maybe a different gender, and a different voice. And so the way this technology would work is that I talk into a camera and a microphone, and what you see on the screen might look like, the character from the movie Avatar and the voice of the character from the movie Avatar, right? Maybe it looks like the President of the United States. Maybe it looks like some random person in a random voice. You don't have to know my skin color, my species. You don't have to know my gender. And what's cool is that a virtual space with technology can facilitate equity, this way of treating people. And I think what will be interesting to people is that some people will say, oh, I got mistreated because of my skin color or my gender or because of my wealth. But if you really have a platform where people can use audio, video, and have that translated into different identities so that you have an avatar which is able to communicate with others, what happens then is just a lot of amazing things can happen. Like there might be a revelation that your ideas where you thought you were the victim are shattered, right? That's one thing that can happen is like, oh, people are treating me this way for a reason different than the way I appear and the identity I have. Well, that's amazing. And then you can end up with some really cool stories where I imagine people with wealth and power and fame, they just don't get the opportunity to connect with just everyday, average, random people. And all of a sudden, they could develop friendships, right? Maybe they find the love of their life, right? In a virtual space where there is a level of anonymity that facilitates this true connection where we can get past, those things I pointed at in the video with Defense Against the Dark Arts, our prejudices, our assumptions, the things which cause blindness within us, and those things which bind us. As Paul Vanderklay says, that hierarchies bind and blind. But can we have a technology where the platform facilitates the unbinding and the unblinding? And I think we can. I went to GPT-4 and just asked about how I might build the thing. And it's doable. It maybe even already exists. Maybe someone's already creating it. And so, I use StreamYard with Jacob Facciarecci, and he might be opposed to this idea. And if he was, I would just say, well, I'm switching to this new platform, Jacob, because I think it can be so good. And I would use both platforms. Like on this platform with Jacob and StreamYard, I'm using my real voice and my real image. And maybe there's a platform for that, so that you know who you're talking to, that you're not talking to a bot or a robot, and your identity is known. But maybe there's also a platform where people can, feel safe, a safe place on the internet for people to use a different avatar with a different voice to connect with people, where, there's a fear of revealing your identity. All kinds of legitimate fears, because prejudice is real. Our blindness and our binding is real. It's all real. So I could imagine a platform that could be very much like StreamYard, where we share links and we hop in and we start talking to each other's characters. All of a sudden we might look like, this could be fun, we look like characters who are wrestlers, like The Rock, right? Because it might point at the game we're playing. Maybe we're actually playing a game where there's people who have different roles, right? We get to play different roles. And so then I'll take this to the meta level. I love taking the technological thought experiments to the meta level and saying, is that why we're here? Is that what this world is? I look out the window. Like, is there another world where people have, I got goosebumps. I mean, people have status, and we have prejudice and assumption, and then we get to go into this world in order to develop relationships with people who have taken on a new identity, where the blindness and the bindings which happen in the next world or some other world are removed, such that we can come into this world and actually, meet new people. And we come back out of this world after we die and we say, aha, we're best friends and we didn't even know it. It's like, we have something special, and I would have never known that we had something special until I was able to put on the mask, change the identity, go anonymous, so that the status game did not get in the way of us actually loving each other and caring for each other. So it kind of gives me tears that we have this potential to do this. Could be very powerful for us to be able to do this game where we build real connections, and the people in positions of power and influence have a means to responsibly connect with random people and learn how to love random people. Like, put yourself in their shoes. Put yourself in the shoes of the person who just has an enormous amount of popularity and celebrity. And then try to act responsibly with that power, with that influence and that responsibility. And if you really love that person and you give them the benefit of the doubt that they are wise, and maybe even wiser than you, wiser than me, then you might see it's like, oh, I feel kind of sorry for those people. Wouldn't it be great if we figured out a way to allow them to develop and cultivate real relationships where people are not just telling them what they want to hear and serving them simply because of their status. Like, wouldn't it be great to actually get past all that status game stuff and have a true relationship where we learn, we build connection. I just shout out Mark Lefebvre. He's talked about the intimacy crisis, and he pointed at John Vervaeke and John Vervaeke's word religio, which means connectedness. And so a person's status actually impacts their capacity, their capability for doing connectedness in a responsible way. And that's sad. Our environment, all of these things, all these variables really do impact us. Like the invention of the car and the airplane. Like, there's so many things in our world which have divorced us from the connectedness that we could have had. And my hope, my prayer is that through innovation, ingenuity, and the recognition that this connectedness is important, that caring for people is important, that we can actually solve this problem. And we can solve it not just for the random person, but we can also solve it for the people who are burdened with power and influence. So there it is. It's a shout out to the world. It's a call for people to create the thing. It's a call for people who might be willing and able to create it to go out and do it. You can include me if you want, or you can just go do it. So I'll probably put this on both of my YouTube channels because it's technical in nature. It crosses the boundary between my interest in, to say it explicitly, for the other more technical, it's my interest. There's an atheistic way to say things, and then there's like a religious way to say things, but the religious way to say things here would be my interest in practicing making Jesus king. The atheistic way to say it would be my interest in practicing loving all people, everything, all creatures throughout all of existence, even throughout time and space. Like, all right, let me know what you think.